the new Terminal 2. KM also suspended all contracts, project concessions in the sector until further notice. In a separate development, the Nigerian movement and the United Nations have signed 2 memorandums of understanding (MOU) to further strengthen counter-terrorism efforts in the country. In a statement by the head of Strategic Communications, Office of the National Security Advisor, Zakari Mijinyawa, the MOUs would help deepen the fight against terrorism in the country. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, who was represented by the National Coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Rear Admiral Yem Musa, noted that the 2 memorandums of understanding signal the momentous milestone in cementing Nigeria's partnership with UNOCT towards enhanced collective counter-terrorism efforts. Meanwhile, United Nations Under Secretary General Office of Counterterrorism Vladimir Voronskov said the MOUs envisage further cooperation in various areas including countering terrorist travel, financing of terrorism, border and maritime security, and delivery of counter-terrorism training in Nigeria. We move to the Green Chambers, where the House of Representatives had her committee investigating non-remittance to National Housing Fund (NHF) and utilization of funds, says the Accountant General of the Federation (AGF), Oluwatoyin Madin, must appear before it. The committee warned Madin to appear before it on September 7 or face arrest. The committee said this at its resumed sitting in Abuja today when the Director, Integrated Personal Payroll Information System (IPPIS) appeared before it over non-remittance to NHF. The committee had invited IPPIS, a department in the office of the AGF, to explain why it had not remitted to NHF. However, disturbed by the information given by the IPPIS director, the committee said the AGF should appear in person. Away from that, the Kwara and Imo state governments have started their distribution of palliatives to cushion the impact of the fuel subsidy removal. During the flag-off event in Ilorin, the Kwara State Governor, Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak, said in the north-central state, at least 250,000 10-kilogram bags of rice were shared in the first phase. The governor, who was represented by the Speaker of the Kwara State House of Assembly, Yakubu Danladi Salihu, noted that the palliatives are only a show of empathy with the people as more sustainable initiatives are being implemented in phases. Back here, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moiner yesterday announced the release of 1 billion naira, being the first tranches of the state government's donation to augment the palliative package received from the federal government. He has also assured that the commencement of distribution of palliatives to residents of the state begins on Monday, September 4, 2023. Addressing journalists at Government House, the governor also announced the approval of 2 billion naira as another tranches for payment of gratuities to retired teachers in both the state and local government service, reaffirming his commitment to the one project per local government area initiative. Responding to the youth supporters and the state governor assured that with state government's augmentation of the 3,000 bags of rice and 2 billion naira so far received from the federal government, the over 2,270 villages in the state should be hopeful to get 50 bags of rice each. Meanwhile, the Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino also announced his determination to support Akwa Ibom State University Ikoropaden campus in Nkparenin local government area in the completion of their hostel project and an intervention in the construction of internal roads in the school. Governor Moina, who made the announcement during a familiarization tour of facilities at the school, assured that the State Commissioner for Education, Idris Adetiabit, and her works counterpart, Professor Noibanga, have been directed to work on the interventions respectively. Governor Eno used the occasion to thank the university community and TET Fund for their support during the electioneering period which also contributed to his emergence as the governor of the state and pledged his commitment to delivering the dividends of democracy to the people in justification of his election as their leader. Earlier, the pro-chancellor of the university, Udoma, who thanked Governor Eno for honoring his invitation, assured the governor that an improved state university will make a good contribution to the Arise agenda of his government. He stated his determination to making the school one of the first-class universities. Meanwhile, the governor, who also visited the temporary site of the Federal University of Technology in Ikorobasi, assured them of his readiness to support them in the construction of 15 classroom blocks and renovation of one hostel for the institution. We move now to Africa, where army officers who seized power in a coup in Gabon have named General Bruce Oligui Nguema as the West African state's transitional leader. Nguema was reportedly carried through the streets of the capital, Libreville, by his troops to display the new era. Meanwhile, the deposed President Ali Bongo, in a video at his home, called for world leaders' quick intervention in the country. Still in Africa, the Rwandan Defense Force RDF has retired 12 generals and others in a move to reshuffle the military, while Cameroon's President Paul Biya has made changes to the Central African country's Ministry of Defense. But moves are coming in the wake of the Gabon coup, the latest in a series of military takeovers in Africa. A statement by the RDF said President Paul Kagame has retired 83 military personnel, including 12 generals. They include General James Kabarabe, General Fred Ibigira, Lieutenant General Charles Kayonga, Lieutenant General Frank Mushoyo Kamanzi, Major General Martin Nzaramba, Major General Eric Morokore, Major General Augustin Turogara, and Major General Charles Karamba. Major General Albert Murasira, Brigadier General Chris Murari, and of course Brigadier General Didang Ndahiro and Brigadier General Emmanuel Ndahiro. Kagame also approved the promotion and appointment of some officers to replace them. RDF added that the move takes immediate effect. The Rwandan president, who has been in power since 2000, is one of the continent's longest-serving leaders. A 2015 amendment to the country's constitution means he can stay in power until 2034. On the foreign scene, state investigators today said 6 Ukrainian soldiers were killed when 2 military helicopters crashed on a combat mission in the country's east. Reports say the crashes took place Tuesday in the Kramatorsk district of the eastern Donetsk region. A State Bureau of Investigation (SBI) did not give details on what happened. It said a pre-trial investigation by the Security Intelligence Service would provisionally focus on possible safety breaches during or in preparation for the flight, which would be classed as a criminal offense. Still on the foreign scene, Russia have vetoed an attempt to keep inside military-run Mali a team of UN experts who are charged that foreign forces, a veiled reference to Moscow-linked Wagner mercenaries, were involved in widespread abuses. 13 of the UN Security Council's 15 members backed a proposal that would have extended by 1 year targeted sanctions in Mali, which expired this week